Jhana meditation, Buddha's greatest contribution to humanity. Momentary concentration is like a house roofed with thatch. Its posts are made out of softwood. Momentary concentration isn't jhana. Threshold concentration is like a house made out of hardwood with a tile roof. Fixed penetration is like an immovable concrete building. This is where we become one in a single preoccupation on the single or direct path, ekayana magga. It's like sitting alone in a chair or lying alone on a bed without anyone trying to come and take up our space, or like being alone in a room without anyone else coming in to disturb us. When we're alone in a room, we can be at our ease. We can even take off our clothes if we like. We can behave with good manners or bad and no one will complain. This is why a mind with jhana as its dwelling can be at its ease. It has a deep well so that it can get plenty of water, to the point where it can drop directed thought and evaluation, leaving nothing but pleasure. This is where feeling becomes your frame of reference. Vedana nupassana satipatthana. The body feels full. All four properties, earth, water, fire, and wind, feel full. When the mind feels full in this way, nothing is lacking. That's rapture. You don't want any more of the four properties. When the mind soaks for a long time in this sense of rapture, it's like something you've soaked in water for a long time. The water is bound to permeate it to a point of saturation. This sense of rapture is the second jhana. When the sense of rapture begins to move, you don't feel at ease. In the same way as when a boat begins to sway, you want to get back on land. So once rapture fills the body, you let go of it, leaving nothing but pleasure and singleness of preoccupation. When the mind has soaked itself in pleasure to a point of saturation, it lets go, leaving an empty sense of equanimity. When the mind is really empty, it feels spacious and light. The more it soaks in equanimity, the more still it gets, giving rise to an inner sense of light. When the light is really intense, you arrive at right mindfulness. Directed thought, focusing on the breath without getting distracted, is like planting a tree. Evaluation is like loosening the soil around the roots, giving it fertilizer, and watering it from the roots to the topmost branches. The body, which can be compared to the soil, will soften, allowing the fertilizer and water to penetrate down to the roots. Rapture is like the trees being fresh and green and bursting into bloom. There are 5 kinds of rapture. 1. An unusual sense of heaviness or lightness in the body. 2. A sense of the body floating. 3. A sense of coolness or heat. 4. A sense of thrill passing over the surface of the body. 5. The body beginning to sway. Pleasure means stillness of body and mind, free from hindrances. Singleness of preoccupation means being neutral toward other things, perfectly still in a single preoccupation. This is what the Buddha was referring to when he said that concentration matured with virtue is of great benefit, great rewards. Directed thought is like standing and looking out a window. Whoever walks past, we know, but we don't call out to them or turn to look after them as they walk down the road. We simply stand perfectly still at the window. Directed thought and evaluation applied to the breath are like car mechanics. The mind is like the head mechanic. When we drive our car, we have to be observant and keep checking all the mechanical parts, such as the steering wheel, the springs, the tires, the gas line, to see if anything is wearing out or not working properly. If we find that anything is not working properly, we have to fix it immediately. That way, the car will take us safely to our destination. When you practice concentration, you have to be observant, checking your breath to see whether or not it's coming in smoothly, and adjusting it to make it comfortable. Your concentration will then progress step by step and ultimately take you to the transcendent. When people criticize you, saying that you're in a blind state of jhana, it's still better than having no jhana to be in. And if they say that you're like a baby chick that hasn't come out of its egg, that's okay too. When a baby chick is still in the egg, no hawk can swoop down on it and catch it. When it comes out of the egg is when it becomes prey. They may say that you're sitting in stump concentration, but don't pay them any mind because stumps can have their uses. Sometimes they grow new branches with tender leaves you can eat. But if the stump catches fire and burns to a crisp, that's no good at all. As we keep training the mind, it keeps getting more and more mature, more tempered and sharp, able to cut right through anything at all. Like a knife that we always keep sharpening. There's no way it cannot become sharp. So we should keep at the practice in the same way that we sharpen a knife. If any part of the body or mind isn't in good shape, we keep adjusting it until we get good results. When good results arise, we'll be in a state of right concentration. The mind will be firmly established in the present, in a state of singleness of preoccupation. We'll gain power both in body and mind. Power in body means that wherever there are pains, we can adjust the properties of earth, water, fire, and wind to give rise to a sense of comfort, in the same way that we trim a tree. If any branches are broken or rotten, we cut them away and graft on new branches. If the new ones break, we graft on more new ones. We keep on doing this until the tree is healthy and strong. Making the mind still is good for two things: suppressing and cutting. If we can't yet cut, we can still suppress. Suppressing means that there are defilements in the mind, but we don't let them flare up into action. We keep them in line. Cutting means that we don't even let them arise. In putting the mind in shape, we have to be observant to see what things need correcting, what things need fostering, what things need letting go. If you do nothing but correcting, it won't work. The same holds true for just letting go. We do whatever the practice requires. When the mind is in concentration, it doesn't get distracted by any thoughts that come passing by. It's like a person entirely focused on his work. If anyone walks by and tries to strike up a conversation, he doesn't want to respond or even look up from his work. In the same way, when the mind has really cut away its outside preoccupations, it's bound to stay entirely in the object of its meditation. The mind full of defilements is like salt water in the ocean. You have to use a lot of directed thought and evaluation to filter and distill the mind to the point where the salt water turns into rainwater. People in the world are like people floating in boats in the middle of the sea when it's filled with waves and monsoon winds. Some people are so far out that they can't even see land. Some are bobbing up and down, sometimes able to see land and sometimes not. This stands for people who are meditating Buddho. Others are beginning to come into harbor where they can see fish traps, sailboats, and the green trees on the coast. Some have swum in so far that they're almost ashore, but not quite. As for the Buddha, he's like someone who has reached the shore and is standing on the land, free from every kind of danger. He sees all the perils that human beings are subject to, and so he feels compassion for us, trying to help us reach the shore and escape from the dangers at sea. This is why he teaches us to develop generosity, virtue, and meditation, which are things that are going to pull us safely to solid ground. When we develop the qualities of the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha within ourselves, we won't have to suffer. We make the mind into Dhamma, and the various defilements that spoil it will disappear. This is how we can escape from the sea. Once we get on land, we can have lots of fun because there are a lot of things we never saw at sea. It's like when we come into the mouth of the Chao Phraya River, where there are marsh trees and fresh green plants. We become enchanted and keep walking further inland to Sukhumvit Road. There we see bicycles and trucks and jeeps and pretty automobiles of different colors. This gets us even more excited, and some of us get smitten with what we see on land. In other words, we fall for the visions and signs that come in meditation. For instance, we may begin to remember previous lifetimes. If we remember bad things, we become sad. If we remember good things, we get happy. This turns into craving, the desire to be this or that, and some people get really deluded, thinking that they actually are the things they see. If our discernment isn't strong enough, then whatever we see will turn into the corruptions of insight, vipassanā, like people who get all excited the first time they see a car. They go running to the car, wanting to ride in it, wanting to drive it, but without looking right or left or stopping to take note of anything. They run right out into the middle of the road, get run over, and either die or break an arm or a leg. After all the trouble they went to in order to get out of the sea, they get deluded and put themselves in danger all over again. But if our discernment is strong enough, whatever we see will turn into noble treasures, Dana. If we see a forest of marsh tress, we can put them to use. We can cut them into firewood to use ourselves or sell in the market. If the land is a tangle of weeds, we can clear it and turn it into fields. If we don't let it lie fallow, it's sure to yield crops. Falling for visions is also called skewed perception. The right way to act when you see a vision is to remember to evaluate it and then let it go in line with its true nature. Don't latch on to what you see, because all things are inconstant. If you're born poor, you suffer from your desire to be rich. If you're born rich, you suffer in looking after your possessions, afraid that they'll wear out, afraid that you'll get cheated out of them, afraid that thieves will break in and steal them. There's nothing certain or dependable at all. The same holds true with visions. So whatever you see, you have to let it go in line with its nature. Leave the trees in the forest, the grass in the meadows, and the rice in the fields. If you can do this, you can be at your ease because you know what it's like on land, what it's like in the water, when to get in and when to get out. Once you're skilled, you can travel on water or land at your ease in every way. You can go forward or back without any obstacles. This is called lokavidu, knowing the world. You can stay with what you know, but you're not stuck on it. You can live in the ocean without drowning. You can live in the world without getting sunk in the world, like a lotus leaf in the water. The water doesn't seep into the leaf at all. When you're true in what you do, your work will succeed in every way. For instance, if you're true in observing the precepts, your precepts will get results. If you're true in practicing concentration, your concentration will get results. If you're true in developing discernment, your discernment will get results. The reason we don't see results is because we're not true in what we do. Only 5 precepts, and yet we can't catch them by the head or the tail. And when this is the case, how can we ever hope to make a living at anything? Only 4 concentrations, the 4 stages of Jhana, and yet we keep groping around and can't find them. There are people who can manage farms covering hundreds and thousands of acres, and yet we can't even manage just 4 concentrations. Isn't that embarrassing? If we aren't true to the Buddha's teachings in our thoughts and actions, the results of our not being true will keep pushing us further and further away from the Dhamma. We'll have to be hungry and suffer in various ways. For this reason, the Buddha taught us to be true in whatever we do. When we're true in this way, then even though we live in the world, we can be at our ease. We know how to flush the suffering out of our heart to the point where the body feels comfortable in every part. Peace and calm depend on the heart's having enough and being full. If the heart is full, external fires won't be able to seep into it. When the body is filled with mindfulness, then where will there be anything lacking in the heart? This is why, if we want to be full, we have to make an effort at developing our meditation as much as possible. Rapture will then arise. When rapture arises, we're not stuck on it because we realize that it's undependable. It eventually has to fade away. So we let go of the rapture. When we let go of the rapture, the mind is at ease in a sense of pleasure. This sense of pleasure and ease is much more refined and profound than rapture, with none of its active symptoms. Rapture is like a person who's pleased by something and so shows it by smiling or laughing. As for pleasure, it doesn't have any external signs. It's hidden in the heart, as when a person is very rich but doesn't show his wealth in any way that people would catch on. This pleasure is what calms the mind. If it were to show itself externally, it wouldn't serve any purpose. Pleasure of this sort can cool the heart and give it respite, and this is what leads to stillness and peace. When the mind is at peace, it grows bright and clear, just like a sea without any waves. You can see the boats 10 miles away. Whatever comes from the north, south, east, or west, you can see it clearly without having to use a spyglass. Our vision goes out further than normal. This is how we give rise to vipassanā, or the insight that allows us to know and see the truths of the world. If we have a coconut, crack it open, and eat the flesh, it fills us up only once. If we forego eating it and plant it in the ground until it grows into a tree with more coconuts, then take those coconuts and plant them. Eventually, we'll become coconut plantation millionaires. If we get money and simply stash it away, it won't serve any purpose, and the day will come when it's no longer safe. So we have to find the right place to put it by making donations to the religion. That's when it will give rise to further results. If the mind goes no further than concentration, it simply gets a sense of ease. We have to invest that stillness in giving rise to discernment. That's when we'll meet with the highest happiness. If the mind has a sense of inner fullness, then when we associate with other people, they'll pick up on that sense of fullness as well. If we're miserable, then when we associate with other people, we'll make them miserable too. If we can develop the power of the mind, we can send thoughts of goodwill to help lessen the sufferings of other people. But if we don't straighten ourselves out first, we can't really help anyone else, in the same way that a crazy person can't help another crazy person become sane. If we're on fire and other people are on fire, how can we help them? We have to put out our own fires first before we can help them cool down. We have to have before we can give. Wings to awakening. When you keep the breath in mind, you get all 4 frames of reference in one. The breath is body. Feelings lie in the body. The mind lies in the body. Mental qualities lie in the mind. The 4 frames of reference when we sit in meditation. The breath is body. Comfort and discomfort are feeling. Purity and clarity are states of mind. And steadiness of mind is mental quality. When practicing concentration, we have to imbue it with the 4 paths to success. Chanda, desire. Have a friendly interest in the breath, keeping track of it to see, when we breathe in, what we breathe in with it. If we don't breathe out, we'll have to die. If we breathe out but don't breathe back in, we'll have to die as well. We keep focused on this, without focusing the mind on anything else. Viriya, persistence. Be diligent in all affairs related to the breath. You have to be intent that now I'm going to breathe in, now I'm going to breathe out. I'm going to make it long, short, heavy, light, cool, warm, etc. You have to be in charge of the breath. Citta, attention. Focus intently on the breath. Be observant of how the external breath comes in and connects with the internal breath in the upper, middle, and lower parts of the body. In the chest, the lungs, the heart, the ribs, the backbone. In the abdomen, stomach, liver, kidneys, intestines. The breath that goes out the ends of the fingers and toes and out every pore. Vipassanā, discrimination. Contemplate and evaluate the breath that comes in to nourish the body, to see whether it fills the body, to see whether it feels easy and natural, to see if there are any parts where you still have to adjust it. Notice the characteristics of how the external breath strikes the internal breath, to see if they connect everywhere or not, to see how the effects of the breath on the properties of earth, water, and fire arise, remain, and pass away. All of this comes under meditation on physical events, and qualifies as the great frame of reference, vipassanā, as well. When the mind has fully developed the 4 paths to success, complete with mindfulness and alertness, the results in terms of the body are the stilling of pain. In terms of the mind, they can lead all the way to the transcendent, the stages of stream entry, once returning, non-returning, and arahantship. If you really develop concentration, it will result in the 5 kinds of strength. 1. Conviction. When you gain conviction in the results you see coming from your efforts, then, 2. Persistence arises without anyone having to force you. From there, 3. Mindfulness becomes more comprehensive in what you are doing. 4. Concentration becomes firmly established in what you are doing, giving rise to 5. Discernment of all things right and wrong. Altogether, these are called the 5 strengths. Tranquility meditation, samatha, is a mind snug in a single preoccupation. It doesn't establish contact with anything else. It keeps itself cleansed of outside preoccupations. Insight meditation, vipassanā, is when the mind lets go of all preoccupations in a state of all-around mindfulness and alertness. When tranquility imbued with insight arises in the mind, 5 faculties arise and become dominant all at once. 1. Saddhendriya. Your conviction becomes solid and strong. Whatever anyone else may say, good or bad, your mind isn't affected. 2. Virayendriya. Your persistence becomes resilient. Whether anyone teaches you the path or not, you keep at it constantly without flagging or getting discouraged. 3. Sattendriya. Mindfulness becomes dominant, enlarged in the great frame of reference. You don't have to force it. It spreads all over the body in the same way that the branches of a large tree protect the entire trunk without anyone having to pull them down or shake them up. Awareness becomes entirely radiant in every posture, sitting, standing, walking, and lying down. It knows on its own without your having to think. This all-around awareness is what is meant by the great frame of reference. 4. Samadhendriya. Your concentration becomes dominant too. Whatever you're doing, the mind doesn't waver or stray. Even if you're talking to the point where your mouth opens a meter wide, the mind is still at normalcy. If the body wants to eat, lie down, sit, stand, walk, run, think, whatever, that's its business. Or if any part of it gets weary or pained again, that's its business, but the mind remains straight and set still in a single preoccupation without straying off into anything else. 5. Paññendriya. Discernment becomes dominant within you as well, to the point where you can make the mind attain stream entry, once returning, non-returning, or even arahantship. In order to divest our hearts of sights, sounds, smells, tastes, etc., we have to develop concentration, which is composed of 7 basic qualities. 1. Mindfulness as a factor of awakening, sati sambodhanga. The mind is centered firmly on the breath, aware of the body, feelings, mind, and mental qualities. 2. Analysis of present qualities as a factor of awakening, dhamma vikaya sambodhanga. We let the breath spread throughout the body, making an enlarged frame of reference. We know how to adjust, improve, choose, and use our breaths so that they give us comfort. We throw out whichever breaths are harmful and foster whichever ones are beneficial. 3. Persistence as a factor of awakening, virya sambodhanga. We don't abandon or forget the breath. We stick with it, and it sticks with us as we keep warding the hindrances from the heart. We don't fasten on or become involved with distracting perceptions. We keep trying to make our stillness of mind stronger and stronger. 4. Rapture as a factor of awakening, pīti sambodhanga. When the mind is quiet, the breath is full and refreshing. We're free from the hindrances and from every sort of restlessness, like a white cloth that's spotlessly clean. When the mind is clear in this way, it feels nothing but comfort and fullness, which gives rise to a sense of satisfaction, termed rapture. 5. Serenity as a factor of awakening, passaddhi sambodhanga. The breath is solid throughout the body. The elements are at peace, and so is the mind. Nothing feels troublesome or aroused. 6. Concentration as a factor of awakening, samadhi sambodhanga. The breath is firm, steady, and unwavering. The mind takes a firm stance in a single preoccupation. 7. Equanimity as a factor of awakening, upekkha sambodhanga. When body, feelings, mind, and mental qualities are fully snug with one another in these two types of breath, when the mind stays with these aspects of the breath, it doesn't have to fashion anything at all. It doesn't latch onto any manifestation of good or bad. Neutral and unperturbed, it doesn't approve or disapprove of anything. 1. Make a resolution, intending to keep mindfulness and alertness firmly focused. Keep continual watch over the mind to keep it with the breath in line with your original intention. Keep warding off the hindrances, the various distractions that will come to spoil the energy of your concentration. This is mindfulness as a factor of awakening. 2. Once the breath is well cleansed and purified, let this purified breath spread to care for the body throughout its various parts. Once the body is nourished with this purified breath, it becomes purified as well. Our words and thoughts become purified too. What we experience now is pleasure and ease. Or, if you want to use the breath to care for any particular part of the body, a great deal or a little, heavily or lightly, blatantly or subtly, you can do so as you like. This is analysis of present qualities as a factor of awakening. 3. Tend to the breath, keeping watch over the mind, not letting it stray off in search of other preoccupations that would break your original resolution. Don't grow discouraged in the face of weariness or difficulties for body or mind. Be resolved on cutting away obstacles, whatever direction they may come from, even if you have to put your life on the line. The breath is solid. This is persistence as a factor of awakening. 4. When these first three qualities are fully developed and pure, they give rise to a feeling of brightness, fullness, and satisfaction. The breath is full. This is the breath of cognitive skill, vijja. In other words, the breath lies under the direction of mindfulness. This is rapture as a factor of awakening. 5. When the mind stays with the full breath, it doesn't waver or loosen its grip in the wake of any passing distractions, as when sounds strike the ear and so forth. Feelings are still experienced as they are felt, but at this point they don't give rise to craving, attachment, states of being, or birth. Awareness is simply aware. This is serenity as a factor of awakening. 6. When awareness is solid and sure, radiant and full in every way, knowledge arises. We both know and see what our present condition comes from and where it will go. We see this so clearly that we will perceive karma and its results, both in ourselves and other people. This is concentration as a factor of awakening. 7. Once the mind has followed these steps from the first to the sixth and then lets go to be still with a spacious sense of relaxation, not fastening onto any sign, preoccupation, or anything at all, that's equanimity as a factor of awakening. When we understand all 7 of these qualities and can develop them in full measure within the heart, they all come together at a single point in a single moment. The reason we're taught to develop these 7 qualities in our breathing is so that we can still the feelings within us, because feelings lie at the essence of the hindrances. The hindrances are the breath impregnated with ignorance and darkness. When this happens, we're like a person standing in the darkness who can't see himself or anyone else because we lie fermenting in our defilements, full of conditions. This is the ordinary breath, untended and undirected. It's full all right, but full of darkness. This state is the important one that cuts and closes off our path. Only when we get rid of these hindrances will the mind be radiant and bright, seeing the Dhamma clearly in terms of both cause and effect. When mindfulness saturates the body the way flame saturates every thread in the mantle of a Coleman lantern, the elements throughout the body work together like a group of people working together on a job. Each person helps a little here and there, and in no time at all, almost effortlessly, the job is done. Just as the mantle of a Coleman lantern whose every thread is soaked in flame becomes light, white, and dazzling, so if you soak your mind in mindfulness until it's aware of the entire body, both the body and mind become buoyant. When you think using the power of mindfulness, your sense of the body will immediately become thoroughly bright, helping to develop both body and mind. You'll be able to sit or stand for long periods of time without getting tired, to walk for great distances without getting fatigued, to go for unusually long periods of time on just a little food without getting hungry, or to go without food and sleep altogether for several days running without losing energy. As for the heart, it will become pure, open, and free from blemish. The mind will become bright, energetic, and strong. Sada Balam, your conviction will run like a car running without stop along the road. Virya Balam, your persistence will accelerate and advance. Sati Balam, your mindfulness will be robust and vigorous. Samadhi Balam, your concentration will become unwavering and resilient. No activity will be able to kill it. In other words, no matter what you're doing, sitting, standing, walking, talking, whatever, as soon as you think of practicing concentration, your mind will immediately be centered. Whenever you want it, just think of it and you have it. When your concentration is this powerful, insight meditation is no problem. Panyabalam, your discernment will be like a double-edged sword. Your discernment of what's outside will be sharp. Your discernment of what's inside will be sharp. When these 5 strengths appear in the heart will be fully mature. Your conviction, persistence, mindfulness, concentration, and discernment will all be mature and preeminent in their own spheres. It's the nature of mature adults that they cooperate. When they work together on a job, they finish it. So it is when you have these 5 adults working together for you, you'll be able to complete any task. Your mind will have the power to demolish every defilement in the heart, just as a nuclear bomb can demolish anything anywhere in the world. When your concentration has strength, it gives rise to discernment, the ability to see stress, its cause, its disbanding, and the path to its disbanding, all clearly within the breath. We can explain this as follows. The in and out breath is stress. The in-breath, the stress of arising. The out-breath, the stress of passing away. Not being aware of the breath as it goes in and out, not knowing the characteristics of the breath. This is the cause of stress. Knowing when the breath is coming in, knowing when it's going out, knowing its characteristics clearly. That is, keeping your views in line with the truth of the breath. This is right view, part of the noble path. Knowing which ways of breathing are uncomfortable, knowing how to vary the breath, knowing that way of breathing is uncomfortable, we'll have to breathe like this in order to feel at ease. This is right consideration. The mental factors that think about and properly evaluate all aspects of the breath are right speech, knowing various ways of improving the breath. Breathing, for example, in long and out long, in short and out short, in short and out long, in long and out short, until you come across the breath that's most comfortable for you. This is right action. Knowing how to use the breath to purify the blood, how to let this purified blood nourish the heart muscles, how to adjust the breath so that it eases the body and soothes the mind, how to breathe so that you feel full and refreshed in body and mind. This is right livelihood. Trying to adjust the breath so that it comforts the body and mind, and to keep trying as long as you aren't fully at ease. This is right effort. Being mindful of the in and out breath at all times, knowing the various aspects of the breath, the upflowing breath, the downflowing breath, the breath in the stomach, the breath in the intestines, the breath flowing along the muscles and out to every pore, keeping track of these things with every in and out breath. This is right mindfulness, a mind intent only on matters of the breath, not pulling any other objects in to interfere until the breath is refined, giving rise to fixed absorption and then liberating insight. This is right concentration. When all of these aspects of the noble path, virtue, concentration, and discernment, are brought together fully mature within the heart, you gain insight into all aspects of the breath, knowing that breathing this way gives rise to good mental states. Breathing that way gives rise to bad mental states. You let go of the factors, that is, the breath in all its aspects, that fashion the body, the factors that fashion speech, the factors that fashion the mind, whether good or bad, letting them be as they truly are, in line with their own inherent nature. This is the disbanding of stress.